Can you visit 193 countries in a single place? The answer is yes, you can, at the World Expo, being held this year in Dubai. This is your complete guide to what to do when you're here at Dubai Expo 2020. How to get here, what to see, what to avoid, and how to have the best time of your life in the largest and most impressive spectacle you'll ever see. Welcome to the greatest show on Earth. The World Expo, sometimes referred to as the World's Fair, is the largest exhibition in the world. And it's basically a showcase of what every single country can do, whether it's an advert to visit their country or show how powerful they are on the world stage. It started in about 1791 and is held every 3 to 4 years or so. This year, it's being held in Dubai, and it's the largest exhibition ever created. But before I tell you all about it, there's a few tips I'm going to give you before you even enter the park. Firstly, bring a bottle of water. As you can imagine, Dubai is an incredibly hot place, and you'll need to stay hydrated, especially if you're walking all this distance. There's plenty of water filling stations around, so stay hydrated, especially in this desert heat. You'll need to pick up a paper map, just like here, and I highly advise you to go into one of the official stores and purchase a Dubai Expo passport, because when you visit a country, they'll happily stamp it for you, and it becomes a nice keepsake of all the places that you visited. More on that later. There's many different ways to get here, and once you've had your tickets and baggage checked, you'll realise that this place is absolutely massive. Imagine the biggest theme park that you've ever been to and at least triple it. It really is that big. Dubai Expo 2020 was originally meant to be held in 2020, but because of the COVID pandemic, they've actually postponed it for a year and a half. So even though it's 2022, it's still on. And the park itself is split into 5 distinct areas, and they're all joined by this giant middle dome, which is an impressive facility in itself. Throughout the day it holds various performances and talks, but it's best to see it at night, and I'll show you why later. The first area we're going to look at is the Sustainability District. Basically, these are countries that want to advertise that they're environmentally friendly. So you can visit countries like Sweden, where their pavilion is made completely out of sustainable wood, or the Singapore pavilion, where their walls are completely made of plants, which is pretty interesting. The Spanish pavilion, where you can play giant chess for some reason. I thought that was pretty cool. And visit the Netherlands, where you can watch a projection of their country and their sustainability practices through an umbrella. That's the first time I've ever watched TV through an umbrella. It was actually kind of cool. You'll notice these big giant trees. Well, man-made trees that are actually solar panels. And this is a good way to showcase the importance of using renewable energy. But guys, take your time to explore the countries in the Sustainability District, because it's really interesting to see what countries are doing to try and be environmentally friendly. The biggest exhibit is this, the Terra exhibition, where you can see the latest advances in environmental technology. The next district we're going to look at is Al Forshan Park. Admittedly, it's mostly a park. It's a nice green space for you to chillax, especially if you've had enough of looking at exhibits. But it has some pretty cool exhibits that you should absolutely see. Such as this one from DP World, showing you the future of transport, and also having this amazing waterfall show that you definitely have to stick around and look for. Visit the Americans and have a look at their space technology, and even touch a moon rock whilst you're here. Be entertained with traditional music and dance from Kazakhstan. But one of the most amazing exhibitions that you will see in this entire park is the Emirates Pavilion. So Emirates, the airline, shows you all about the future of air transport. Things like design your own plane, operate robotic arms, and look at the engines and technology of the future. But the most amazing experience was this VR simulator, which simulates the future of what aeroplanes are going to be like just 30 years from now. Super fast, super quiet, and everything operated just with your hands. It really is amazing, and I wish I could show you the actual footage from these goggles. It's definitely worth booking in advance for, and whilst we're talking about booking in advance, I've just got to warn you at this point that a lot of countries are so popular that there's mile-long queues for it, and sometimes you can't even get in. So I highly advise that you book in advance for these countries and exhibits, because otherwise you probably won't get in. The biggest country that's exhibiting is obviously the home country, the United Arab Emirates, and whilst the queue for that particular exhibit is long, it's definitely worth it. Especially if you get to see all this cool stuff, and it's also amazing to see how far they've come in the last 30 years. The next district we're going to cover is the Opportunity District. These are countries that want to trade with the rest of the world and show the rest of the world what they can offer. So one of the cooler exhibits in the Opportunity District is of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They've got some pretty cool waterfalls, just like this, where everyone gets drenched trying to not get drenched, and they've even got waterfalls that spell out stuff. But the rest of the exhibit is actually very cool anyway, and it comes highly recommended. Visit Colombia and learn about their beautiful country while snacking on coffee and chocolate, and then going downstairs and buying even more coffee and chocolate. Go to Pakistan, probably the most colourful pavilion in the whole show. You can actually explore their beautiful country and walk through laser rainforests. Yes, laser rainforests. But don't just go for the big countries. Some of the smaller countries offer some amazing experiences as well, such as if you visit the Vietnam Pavilion, where they've got live performances of authentic Vietnamese music. Just so good. But the biggest pavilion in the Opportunity District is the Mission Possible Pavilion. They showcase what's possible and what can be possible with the aid of human achievement. The next district is the Mobility District. These are countries that want to showcase advances in transport and moving people around. The most colourful of which, definitely Russia. It kind of looks like they've 3D printed the entire building, and I'm pretty sure that's not the case, but inside there's lots of interactive displays to keep you mesmerised. Visit South Korea and their Squid Game-like exterior building. They also give you some of the most amazing views of the expo from the outside, and arguably they've got some of the more interactive displays using this phone. It shows you roughly what the future of transport is going to be like. One of the nicer pavilions is actually Thailand's. Okay, it's just basically a big giant advert for their country, but some of their live performances and some of the things that you can see on the big screens is absolutely mesmerising, and I highly recommend that you at least check out the Thailand one whilst you're here. The largest exhibit in this district is the Mobility Pavilion, and it shows you some pretty amazing things, from the history of transport to the future of transport. It's all very visually stunning. And the last district we're going to look at, Jubilee Park. The main feature of Jubilee Park is, well, it's a big giant park. It has this wonderful stage that has various live performances throughout the day, and I happened to walk into one that was Indian themed. Every Indian in the entire expo decided to descend on the park at the same time as me. Visit some countries whilst you're here in Jubilee Park. For example, if you go to Hungary's, they'll basically put you in a ball pit and show you a 360-degree film about how cool their thermal spas are. And as somebody who's actually been to Hungary and experienced that, I can attest that that's pretty accurate. But the biggest feature in Jubilee Park is this, the water feature. Basically, water cascades down these curved walls and people try and climb them. Sometimes they fall over, but it's a fantastic cool photo opportunity, and it's a great place to cool down your feet if it gets too hot. Now, I mentioned before about the passport that you can buy at the official store. This is so that you can go around countries and have them stamp what you visited, and it makes you try and visit every single country. So you get to learn a lot about some of the smaller countries that you've probably never heard of, and then get your stamp to prove that you've actually done it. After a while, it becomes a bit of a sad game, but a very educational and fun one nevertheless. With all these countries, sometimes it takes 2 minutes to visit, sometimes it takes 2 hours. And if you're trying to visit a particularly popular country, I highly recommend using the smart ticketing system on the Dubai Expo app. Simply link your tickets and book in advance some of the more popular exhibits. I'm not joking about that. So Nin, what are the best exhibits? Well, in my opinion, the best exhibits that you absolutely have to visit, especially if you're only here for 1 day, are Germany. It's probably the most fun exhibit in the entire expo. You get to jump into ball pits, you get to interact with things, and it's pretty educational, albeit the queues are very, very long. DP World, with its travel technological advances and this cool water feature, and Saudi Arabia, Colombia, and the Emirates, all as previously mentioned. There's a few with incredibly long queues that's worth checking out. These include Japan, with its all-interactive, very Japanese style exhibit. It's incredibly long, it will take you about an hour and a half to see. Kazakhstan, it's very interesting, but they do lock you in and they don't let you leave for quite some time. And the same goes for Egypt. Even though all of their displays were cool, it takes a long time to see. And finally, Singapore. I'm not entirely sure why the queues were so long just to see an exhibit filled with plants, but it was just really long. So if you only have a short amount of time, I'd give these 4 a miss. There's only 2 or 3 that I would tell you to definitely avoid. Canada was incredibly disappointing. Bahrain is very, very plain. And the worst exhibit out of the entire expo, I'm afraid to admit this, is my home country of the United Kingdom. Yes, it looks very amazing from the outside, but all you do when you walk in is type in a word on an iPad, an AI program spits out some nonsensical AI poem, and then your word gets displayed on the wall and then you leave. And that's it. £44 million was spent on this useless monstrosity, and I am really ashamed to be British after seeing this exhibit. So if you only have a short amount of time, avoid this one. The coolest part about visiting some of these countries is sampling all of their food. Most of the main countries have their own kind of themed restaurants. It's pretty cool to experience cuisine that you otherwise wouldn't experience. So one day you could be having Belgian fries and waffles, eat in an authentic Emirati restaurant, experience the finest cuisine in the world, which is undoubtedly French food, and sample some real Sri Lankan tea if you want to. You'll never be stuck for anything to eat around here. There's plenty of food options, and apart from that, there's visitor centres everywhere around the park that houses things like toilets, showers, changing facilities and prayer rooms. And at night time, this place really does come alive. It glows like the most amazing Christmas tree that you've ever seen. The best part of the nighttime experience is walking around and just seeing random performances from various countries. So you can watch everything from traditional dances from Paraguay to more modern hip-hop performances. Have a sing-along with some Indonesians. This guy from Poland is playing music with vegetables. Yep, vegetables. But the absolute best place to watch stuff at night is back here at this main dome. Not only do they put on a light show, they put on a performance very similar to Cirque du Soleil. You'd be paying through the nose to watch something like this at Cirque du Soleil, and right here it's absolutely free. And at night, it's also the best time to go into the spinning observation deck, known as the Garden in the Sky. Now, I actually went on this twice, once during the day to see what the park looks like from up high, and once at night to see all the pretty lights. And I highly recommend if you do only do the observation deck once, do it at night. It took me 4 full days to see and do and watch and eat everything. And that's at least 12 hours each single day. I was pretty much completely wasted, my legs feel pain like no tomorrow, but to be honest, I've never had so much fun in my life. And yes, I did end up visiting and having my passport stamped 193 times, so I'm absolutely proud of that. It's a keepsake to remind you of the fantastic time that you'll have here at Dubai Expo 2020. I'll finish by saying, guys, that you'll have the time of your life here in Dubai Expo 2020. Not just with the exhibits and the cool experiences and the food, but also meeting people from different countries and experiencing what it's like to be a citizen of the world. It really is a positive experience, and if you're interested in going, I highly recommend that you book your tickets now, because here's the kicker, it's only on until the end of March. And after that, it's gone forever. You will never see this ever again. Okay, Nin, I'm sold. What do I need to do? Well, you need to come here to Dubai Expo 2020, even though now it's 2022. As mentioned just now, it actually opened in October of last year and is going to close forever on the 31st of March 2022. So at the time of this video publishing, you've got about 6 weeks to actually see this thing. Book your flights directly with Emirates, the flag carrier of Dubai, and arguably the best airline in the world, and find a hotel somewhere in Dubai, preferably next to a metro station, so that you can get to Dubai Expo 2020 pretty much as quick as a flash. To get here, it's right at the end of the Dubai metro line, so it's really not that difficult to find. There's also free buses that will actually take you there, free of charge, from various parts of Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Sharjah. The cost? Well, believe it or not, it can be free. Yes, if you do fly with Emirates, they will actually give you a complimentary one-day ticket so that you can explore it. If you want to purchase single-day tickets, it's pretty cheap. It works out at about £9. But because I went on several days, I decided to buy an entire season ticket, which is unlimited access until the end of March, for just £41. I spoke to an American who went to the last expo, and they said it was at least £40 a day last time, so £41 for an entire season ticket is excellent value for money, especially given that you get to see all this cool stuff. Is there anything else I need to know? Yes, you'll be security checked quite invasively upon entry. So if you're carrying anything like poles or drones, they will turn you around straight away and they will deny you entry. So try and pack as lightly as you can. You'll need a COVID vaccination or a negative PCR test taken within the last 48 hours to be able to access the expo. If you don't have any of these, you can take a PCR test at a charge literally directly outside the entrance. As mentioned before, this place is massive. It spans the area of about 638 football pitches, and you'll be doing a hell of a lot of walking. So wear light clothing, wear comfortable shoes, and remember to pack an empty water bottle because you'll need to refill that roughly every hour. There are security and police everywhere, and if they tell you to do something, it's best that you comply, because failure to comply, you might get kicked out pretty easily. And finally, if you only have a short time to explore Expo, I highly recommend that you jot down the countries that you want to visit and go there. If you have to book a smart ticket to beat the queues, then I highly recommend that you do that, because otherwise, sometimes, like with the Japan Pavilion and the Emirates Pavilion, you won't get in otherwise. Guys, I absolutely love this place. I've not had this much fun in a long time, and if you are remotely interested in going to Dubai Expo 2020, seriously get off this video, have a look for flights and accommodation now, because it's only on for the next 6 weeks. You'll never see anything like this ever again, and I guarantee you won't regret it. Don't hesitate and book now. Guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share and subscribe. Comment on the comment section below, and if you've got any other suggestions for bucket list ideas, you know what to do, tweet them at me. If I get enough suggestions, I'll go ahead and do that. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Okay, 2 on 1, 3 on 1.
There it is! That's what I'm talking about!
Yes! I get it!